how do you think you built up to being able to run as consistent in that pace, no matter up, down? It seems like it doesn't vary much. So how did you train your body to get there?
I think a lot of years of just stacking little tiny blocks together to accumulate the endurance and the strength, and like get my muscles and joints where that feels okay for everything. But yeah, I mean, I've been running for a really long time, so I think anyone can get there. And you did the 100 miles, so we're the same. Like, we covered the exact same distance.
Okay.
Did the exact same climbing.
Yeah, we did.
We just spent 23 hours running together.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did we say the stats? So I think the stats were, I can't remember. We went down to Run Hub and kind of went over this, but we did 100 miles, 3 days, 24,000 feet of gain, and 23 hours of running.
Yeah, roughly 23 hours.
And that was the clock running, but it was basically 23 hours of effort.
Yeah.
And that's what's, we both have a 200-mile race coming up. And I think that is, we talked about this today too. We'll probably have to recap a lot of the stuff because we've had 3 days of talking. But
I know, I couldn't believe you wanted to keep talking.
People love you. They can't get enough. Yeah, it's not for me. I'm not a fan at all. I just want you to know I don't even hardly like you, but I know these other people do. So this is for them. Yeah. So what we thought, like we talked about today, is so we did the 50 miles on the one day, 16,000 foot of gain. So hard on our legs, good test on the legs. But that's kind of what a 200 miler is you start off feeling good, but how long is that going to last? Your body's only capable of so much. So you figure even if you felt good for 100 miles, you still have 150 you're going to have to grind it out. So similarly, we got that 50 done, and then we had 2 more days on kind of beat up legs to make it happen. And that's basically endurance racing.
100%. Yeah, it was physically kind of simulating it where our legs were just getting more and more tired over the days. But then probably some good mental stuff too, where like stopping between those, you have time to think about it, your life choices.
Yeah.
How did I find myself in this situation?
Yeah. How do I get out of it?
Yeah.
I was trying to get hit by a truck when we'd cross the road, and they're like good reaction time. But yeah, and another thing that we keep getting reminded about is, well, I keep getting reminded about, but when it feels like, so we'd stop and you get going, and once you've got a lot of miles and you're kind of, or I'm just speaking for myself, kind of stiff, and you're like, oh my God, this hurts. And then after a while, you're back in that groove. And that's the key to remember in these races where this training is so valuable, is that, yeah, there's going to be miserable times, but we fight through them. And then just like today and yesterday and many times over the course of these 3 days is like, then we're back in the groove, and we're back, good turnover, the pain, maybe we're just distracted a little bit, or maybe it lessens, but yeah, just pushing through and getting to a good spot again.
Yeah.
And it keeps happening.
You got to start.
Yeah.
You have to start or you never see. And that's even like a training run. I don't know if it ever happens for you, where it's just like you're sitting there thinking about how you should run that day, and the shoes are looking at you at the door, and it seems so hard. But if you just put on your shoes and start, and you start walking out the door, then the same thing happens, where you're like, a little creaky, getting the legs moving, but then a few miles later, maybe forgetting that it was even hard to get out the door that day.
Yeah. Well, I don't believe that you feel the same way I do. I feel like you get up and you just can't wait to go run, and you're like, this is easy every time. But if you say that's not the case...